Here we have the right hand side of both lower hulls. The Dragon kit shows more details in the area around the final drive. These mountings are pretty much the same, both are angled slightly forward. The holes for the return roller axles on the Tamiya kit have a larger diameter, but that's it. The guide rails for the swing arms are molded in different angles on the two kits. I don't know which is correct. Another difference between the kits are these guide rail and rubber pad units. The undersides of both lower hulls are nicely detailed, but they're not identical. As you can see here, or here. In fact, it doesn't matter much to me since both models will be glued onto a dial, but it's still nice to know it's there. There's no detail inside the lower hull of the Stug III, but that's not important. Nothing of this will be visible. The frame for the rear panel assembly is part of the Panzer III's lower hull. The mountings for the drive sprockets have a larger diameter on the Tamiya kit. The reason for all the details in the Panzer III hull is the way the swing or suspension arms are mounted. I show the difference between both kits later in this video. The front plate of the Stug is complete the way you can see it here, while there are two parts to be added on the Panzer's front. Here you can see the nice weld lines on the Panzer's hull. There's no such detail on the Stug. I don't know yet in which way this will be of any significance. Maybe all of it will disappear under some layers of mud and dust. Sub-assemblies for the Stug's rear end completed. Maybe I'll drill out the exhaust pipes a little more, but I haven't made my mind up yet. Here's a comparison between the actual Stug kit and the Ausführung B in the fantastic book I got from Steve Mottram. The mountings for the return rollers are identical, since they are casts of a Tamiya part that were glued to the Dragon hull. This curvy plate on the upper edge is missing on the actual hull. I'm not sure if I'll add them. It depends on what will actually be visible. If the tracks are blocking the view, there's no point in adding those plates. The Dragon hull features the plates, and if I decide to add them to the Tamiya hull, I'll use them as templates. The Stug IIIB didn't have escape hatches, and that's the main difference between both hulls. Swing arms attached. They can't come off accidentally because they are secured by plates that had to be glued to the inner sidewalls. And they are workable. More suspension parts added. Shock absorbers, the complete axles for the idler wheels, and rubber pad mountings for the front and rear swing arms. A close-up of the rear suspension parts. The rear panel with the exhaust and the towing points is already glued in place. And here the rear grille is added. Very nice texture on the Stug's final drive housings. Here you can see how Tamiya dealt with the workable suspension. There are little springs attached to the first and last swing arms. The front towing points. I'll have to add 14 spare track links. And now for the Panzer III. I can't remember where I picked this up, but I find it very useful to add these pieces of tape to the Dragon sprues. There are several A, B, C and so on sprues, and in the instructions they are only indicated by using different colors. I noted the sprue's letter and color down on the tape, so it's way easier to find the right sprue. Assembly of the suspension completed. Some fiddly parts there. I defeated the carpet monster 5 times. Nothing was lost, everything's glued in place. As you can see, there's no cast texture on the Panzer's final drive housings. Do you remember all the nice details in this area? I asked myself what this was good for. And here you can see how Dragon made the suspension workable. These are real torsion bars and they work properly. And here I made my first mistake up to now. Dragon instructions give you the part number for the kit side you see right in front of you. The part number for the other side is printed in brackets below the first number. Following this, I assumed wrongly that the torsion bars were all the same since there was only one number. I didn't see the 6 times, nor did I see the part number and the 6 times for the other side. I didn't realize I made a mistake before I wanted to attach the swing arms. Then it was too late to swap the torsion bars cause the glue had already cured. I had to trim the location pins on 6 of the swing arms. There was a 50-50 chance that I made good use of it. I think about 80% of that mistakes are my fault. I'll give the remaining 20% to Dragon for their instructions. They're much too busy and the steps partially don't come in the correct order. Don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic kit. Only the instructions aren't what they're supposed to be for an expensive kit like this. Here you can see that it turned out nicely, although I had to do some extra work to correct my mistake. To make the suspension workable, you only need to cut off all the pins that are molded beneath the rubber pads before you attach the swing arms. I had skipped the assembly of the wheels at this stage. The sub-assembly for the idle wheel axles was built in step 4. In my opinion, this is something that works better the way I did it, but of course that's just me. The Panzer III's rear end. Here you find deflectors and some nice grills that come as PE parts. Since I only had to cut them off the fret and no bending had to be done, that was really nice and easy work. Maybe it's just a little annoying that those grills won't be visible anymore when the Panzer's glued onto the dio. Here's just comparing the cast texture on the Tamiya kit to the plain surfaces on the Dragon kit. I doubt that there'll be much left of it once the models are painted and weathered, and that's why I'm not sure if I should add some texture to the Panzer's undercarriage. And some final close-ups of both hulls. The road wheels have seam lines on both kits. Those on the Stug are more pronounced, but those on the Panzer have 4 sprue gates instead of 2. That was some tedious work and I'm still not happy with the result. Before I start comparing the wheels one by one, I want to show you the completed assembly. The drive sprockets look almost the same. The Stug sprockets have a nice cast texture. The idler wheels are different types, that makes comparing them impossible. The road wheels look the same at first sight, but there are differences. The weld lines on the Tamiya road wheels look better, but the Dragon wheels have the name of the tire company molded on. Well, sort of. The return rollers are identical, only that the Dragon rollers had a seam line and 3 sprue gates each. And the tire company's name, of course. Well, sort of. That's what lower hulls and wheels look like all together. But let's get back to the road wheels and a detail that was added to them in the book. The stiffening tubes between the inner and outer road wheel. Tamiya's road wheels don't feature this. Dragon's road wheels do. Here you can see what's actually visible, if you can see it. And here's the difference between both road wheel assemblies. It is clearly visible that Tamiya didn't care much for this detail. Question is if this will still be visible when the road wheels are attached to the hull and the tracks are in place, along with some mud and dirt. As I told you before, the Tamiya road wheels have nicer weld lines. But what about this detail with the company's name on the rubber wheels? It reads Continental. The same word on the return rollers. If I only hadn't noticed that. I had to shave off the right halves of all U's on 18 wheels to change that into Continental. Of course it wasn't a mistake Dragon made here. This way they didn't have to pay for the use of the brand's name. Well, quite honestly, I would do that again. It wasn't as bad as I thought.